Good afternoon and welcome to this meeting of the Board of Public Works and Safety for the City of Huntington on Tuesday, February 17th, 2026. We'll begin the meeting beginning with a roll call and calling the meeting to order. Christy?
Mayor Strick,
Present?
Danielle Albertson,
Present.
Megan Bonbrick is absent, Ian Lindsay,
Present.
Anthony Lesnickia.
Present.
Thank you. And having established a quorum for the conducting of city business, we'll move along to first item on the agenda, consideration of minutes from the February 2nd, 2026 regular meeting. Is there a motion to bring those to the floor for consideration and adoption as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Further discussion and consideration of the minutes? Not seeing or hearing any at this time, we'll call the question in favor of adoption of the minutes as submitted. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Not aware of any old business. We do have several items under new business, all special events. The first item is Heritage Days 2026. Is there a motion to bring that to the floor for consideration?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Steve? Welcome back.
Thank you, Mayor. Steve Kimmel, Executive Director, Huntington County Chamber of Commerce. Just wanted to bring back Heritage Days and ask for permission to be able to have another Heritage Days for 2026. It comes around a whole lot faster than it used to, but got everything filled out with the city, the certificate of liability. I've worked through all of the different departments to get my permits, and we are not interested in activating DORA at this particular time. But I wanted to just to kind of go over the street closures for this event. If you look in your package there is actually a street closure spreadsheet there. So what we would do is we would actually close Cherry Street from Park Drive to State Street on Monday after 3 p.m. with permission from NDOT once we get that permit. So Cherry Street from Park Drive to State Street would be totally closed for the carnival. Other street closures would be Jefferson Street from 1 p.m. on Friday through 9 o'clock that evening for the car show. And then also from Market Street, Washington Street, and Franklin Street from Warren. Actually, Market and Washington would be from Warren to Cherry, and then Franklin would just be from Warren to Jefferson, and that would just be for the car show. So anyways, we're seeking permission to be able to do Heritage Days again this year. Just wanted to answer any questions that you might have. We've been doing this now for several years now. This is my 16th year, and so we pretty much have things under control. We have hired the Boy Scouts, Troop 130. They will be making sure everything is cleaned up during the carnival, during Heritage Days, and then when the carnival leaves town, everything will be cleaned up afterwards. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to take those at this time.
What are the dates?
Dates would be June 10th, which would be the Wednesday, through June 14th, which would be the Sunday. Typically, I come in early on Monday morning. We get the streets finally all cleaned up, and usually by no later than 9 a.m., Cherry Street's reopened for traffic. I will be going to the county commissioners on Monday, I believe, this coming Monday. And during the entire week, truck traffic coming from the north going south will be, except for local deliveries, will go out Broadway. And then during the parade time, all trucks coming from the south going north will be routed around Broadway at the same time. So that'll just be for like 3 hours during the Saturday event. Parade route's going to be we'll be staging at the high school. Parade route is from North Jefferson and McGann, straight down Jefferson, straight through the mall, and then the parade will end at State Street just prior to the tracks.
Further questions or discussion by board members? Okay. Not seeing or hearing any at this time, then we'll call the question for approval of the Heritage Days 2026 plan as submitted to the city. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you. Need to wait for the music in the city, or it's on the agenda?
Let's go ahead and we'll have you go ahead and present on that as well.
Okay.
Why don't we do we have a motion to bring music in the city a little bit earlier on the agenda for consideration by the board, since Steve's at the microphone.
So moved.
Motion and second. Go ahead, Steve.
Okay, Music in the City, we are going to have just 3 of them this, well, actually, have 4 of them. One of them will be at the Brat Tent during Heritage Days at the Wise Guys in the parking lot. The other 3 will be at the courthouse, and they will be on Saturday, July 11th, Saturday, August 8th, and then Saturday, September 12th. We'll just be closing the streets down from about 4 p.m. until 9 p.m., just Franklin Street between Warren and Jefferson. So I'm just seeking approval to be able to do that. We'll be tapping into the electricity at the courthouse per usual, and we have 3 different bands coming at that particular time. And all the paperwork's filled out with the city, and so we have the applications submitted.
Thanks, Steve. Can you repeat those dates again for me?
Yeah,
please?
it would be Saturday, July 11th, Saturday, August 8th, and Saturday, September 12th. It's the second Saturday of each month.
And then you said with the Brat Tent, was that June 12th or 13th?
The Brat Tent would be, yes, June 12th.
Okay, thank you. Further discussion and consideration of the schedule for music 26 by board members.
I know you said that you go through all the, you talk to the Downtown Business Association for these dates?
There isn't a downtown business.
I thought there was some sort of group.
There's a Main
Main
Street.
Street?
Yeah,
Main
Main
Street?
Street's aware of it.
Oh, they are, okay.
Yeah.
I guess that's what I meant. Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
Further discussion? Not hearing any, we'll call the question in favor of approval of the dates proposed for music in the city. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda then, back to our regular order. We do have Erin from Legends here. Is there a motion to bring her special event to the floor for consideration?
So moved.
Second.
A motion and second.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Erin Keel. I'm the owner of Legend Sports Bar and new owner of Legacy Tap Catering. We are wanting to do a Heritage Day beer tent on June 13th. We are wanting to close down Franklin Street to be able to do a band. We'll have a live band on Franklin Street, so we will have to tap into like the courthouse electric and stuff like that. We are wanting to use the city parking lot to be able to place our beer. We'll have a mobile bar to serve out of for the beer tent. And then we also have food trucks and food catering that'll be there. It'll start around 7 p.m. and we will be done by 11. We're wanting to do this because we're wanting to raise money for the skate park for Huntington. So every beer sold, $1 gets donated to that. There will also be raffling tickets and stuff for people to do. And with that, I have talked with Andy, and he's going to have a lot of volunteers to help us clean up and check IDs, bracelet everybody so that we're safe and taken care of. So.
Okay, so we've got a beer tent on June 13th in the city parking lot, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Mhm.
And then is this through the ATC process, or is this with activation of the DORA? What are we?
This is activation with DORA.
Okay, so
Yep.
that's your request with the board today
Yeah,
on that?
Huntington and Main Street does know
Okay.
about it, and they've been coordinating with us and helping us out as well.
Okay. Board members, questions or discussion?
Your first event for this year?
Yes.
Wait a second.
While you're thinking of that, then, great prompt, Danielle. Chief, if you could come up and give an update to the board, since you mentioned about for this year. I mean, last year with Dora, I know there was some concern since it was our first year about events, if there was gonna cause any additional issues or concerns, any additional work for our local law enforcement. What's
Yeah.
been our experience with Dora?
Yeah, good afternoon. My apologies, I was a little more prepared. I don't remember you guys, or at least two of you members, different Dora events that we had last year. I don't know how many we had off the top of my head, but obviously it was a handful. Mr. Lindsay would be privy to that, but yeah, no true issues to speak of from a law enforcement perspective. I think by far the busiest event that we would have had would have been Tenderloin Festival. I attended that personally. It was a very nice event, well attended, lots of people downtown. Again, I think it goes back to the same things that we talked about when we're addressing Dora, right? From our perspective, we try to make the event an event that isn't bringing a lot of riffraff, and we're not selling dollar beers. Obviously, that's not up to me. That's up to Aaron here, but I think that certainly helps as we bring in events on an individual basis. But yeah, from our perspective, nothing significant to speak of, and if you have other specific questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Again, I think that we probably had somewhere in, it wasn't double digits of Dora activation last year, but we certainly had a handful of events. First year basis, everything went smooth.
Thanks, Chief. Anthony, did you think of your question?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we have these dates correct, because all of the music in the city dates were Saturdays except for the first one. June 12th by my calendar is a Friday. Is that
Yes.
right?
Yep.
Okay. I just want to make sure that we got that date correct so that we didn't have.
Nope, looks like back-to-back nights, different events.
And then the door activation is only for the 13th?
We
Yes.
We will be trying to come back and, I think Sabrina from Market Street's gonna try to activate Dora on that Friday for the car show. But I think it's because she also has plans for that Friday as well, so I think I just left the Friday up to her to activate Dora.
Further discussion or questions by board members? Okay, then we'll call the question in favor of approval of the event. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Aaron.
I'm gonna
Then
stay
I
up
believe
for
you've
the-
got another event,
Yeah,
right?
do you want me to stay up that?
Okay. Is there a motion to open conversation discussion regarding the March 14th St. Patrick's Day event?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second.
It is my birthday on March 14th, so. We are doing a St.
Sorry.
Patty's Day.
The Aaron's birthday event,
Yes,
March
thank
14th.
you, yeah.
Also honoring St. Patrick
Yes.
and our Irish heritage in the community.
We want to do just a small pub crawl. We're not trying to shut down any roads or anything. We just kind of want to activate Dora. It's our first like indoor activity for Dora, just so that people can kind of do a little pub crawl because it is St. Patty's Day. So I think it'll be a good event to do that on.
And can you tell us a little bit more about the pub crawl? I know you guys did one with Halloween last year.
Yeah.
Same
It's not
sites?
necessarily the same setup. We haven't really talked to the other bars. We're more than welcome to. But with Market Street and Legends and Big Daddy's being on that street, they can just bounce back and forth. Like Market Street does trike races. We do this beer pong competition that the younger kids like. Big Daddy's does cornhole. So it's cool to activate Dora because then they can just bounce back and forth between all the bars and can participate in all the activities within everybody. So. Yeah, we don't have anything crazy going on, just we want to be able to let people walk around with their Dora cups, participate.
And so there's not a street closure on that
Nope,
one?
nope, this is all inside events that are happening within the bars.
Okay.
Yeah.
As you guys get closer and planning it, are you open to the possibility of a street closure there?
If we need to, if
it's-
you guys think that's the safest route, we're more than happy to close down a street.
Just, if you're centered right in on that block, I'm wondering about people crossing mid-block
Yeah.
throughout the evening. That goes on.
Yeah, if you want to, I can resubmit paperwork and we can go ahead and shut down Market Street. That wouldn't be an issue. I just kind of want to also try to test out the DORA without street closures because we do have all the regulations and stuff, and St. Patty's would be a good day to try to see how responsible people are with walking around with their DORA cups freely.
So
Another gray hair.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
did you activate Dora for the Halloween thing?
So Oktoberfest, yeah, that was
Oktoberfest?
activated, but all the streets were pretty much closed for that because we had kids downtown for that. And then later in the night,
For the
then we
other
had,
events earlier
yeah,
that-
yeah, so
Okay.
it was
That's fine.
closed down. So yeah, we were up to, if you guys think it's best to close down the road, we can absolutely do that.
And where do you have commitments from now in terms of establishments for St. Patrick's Day?
Right now, we just have talked it's just a Market and Legends thing that we've talked about. We haven't really talked to any other businesses about it quite yet.
So they'll go to the establishments and cornhole will be inside?
I'm sorry, say that?
Like, you'll go to the establishment and you'll have cornhole inside the?
Yeah. All the activities, the trike races, the cornhole, it's all inside the bars, the establishments.
Further questions or discussion by board members?
This is one of the dates that's not listed in the ordinance, right? Aren't there specific timeframes that Dora is listed in the ordinance? Yes.
I believe St. Patrick's Day is listed,
Oh,
if
it
I
is.
recall correctly, but the ordinance doesn't necessarily say that it has to be those dates.
Right.
Those were given as examples.
As long as they come to us
Yes,
for that.
for authorization, as it currently stands. Yep. Further discussion or consideration on this particular event? So Aaron, my thought is, and we'll call for approval as it stands right now, but then let's keep dialoguing with department heads and evaluate safety considerations on whether or not that should also involve a street closure or not.
Okay, so if it doesn't get approved, then go ahead and resubmit paperwork for it to get closed.
Well, I'm going to call for approval. We'll see if it gets approved
Okay.
as is,
Okay.
and then we might have to tighten it up.
Perfect, okay, thank
Okay.
you.
All right. So with that, then I'll call the question for approval of the event as submitted right now without the street closure. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And then let's connect with department heads and think through the pedestrian safety piece if there's
Absolutely,
concerns or not that way.
okay,
Okay,
thank you.
Next item under special events is the annual triathlon at Lake Claire for July 19th. Is there a motion to bring this to the floor for consideration and authorization?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Afternoon, welcome back.
How you doing? Yearly visit. So it's a triathlon. This is the 7th summer we've done triathlons at Lake Claire. This will be the 4th time I think we've ran into town. And as far as the part in city limits, it's pretty low impact. The event total will probably have 200 racers, 150-ish maybe coming to town. We do a few more in the past. We use almost entirely the paved trail system. We come up over on Roscoe, I think it is. Crossing Broadway from the lake. We take the trail all the way up to the hospital, back. Start coming across about 9 a.m. Finish some stragglers about 1 p.m. We have everything turned into the county, EJ Carroll at Township. And we have the bike portion on county roads. Dave Jackson, Sheriff's Department is covering all that again. He always covers that. As far as in town, we could use a disaster relief team again, since it's kind of light. Or we could use city police if you guys prefer that, but since it's kind of a light job, whatever you think would be better there.
Seems to have worked pretty well with disaster relief for you,
Yeah.
right?
Cross, Stoltz, get on the trail north, Bragg, kind of Stoltz again, cross over the hospital and the area. So, yeah, it'd be pretty much the same format as we've used in years past. Brings a lot of out-of-town people, get hotels and eat and stuff in town.
Seems like you've ran an event very well the last couple of years, and it's great. Any questions regarding the application? Again, this is an event that's occurred for 3-4 years now at this point. It's gone very smoothly in the past. Questions or discussion by board members?
The route has changed.
Not from last year. A few years ago, we used some cross-country course, but we just stuck to the pavement. It's so hilly out there, people don't want to run that in the middle of a long triathlon.
Okay. Further questions? Not seeing or hearing any at this time. We'll call the question in favor of authorization for the event at Lake Claire with the triathlon. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thanks.
Next on the agenda, moving along to orders of enforcement, we do have status hearings for today. And so with that, I want to request a motion to open up the status hearing regarding 1327 East Market Street.
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. Commissioner Paul?
Good afternoon. I'll just run through this timeline for you. The property owner is Robert Lee Heiner at 566 East Washington Street. That order of enforcement was issued on October 29th, 2025. There were 14 unsafe violations, 16 minimum housing violations, and the property was declared unfit for human habitation. During the Board of Works meeting on November 17th, 2025, the public hearing, the board affirmed the order with a deadline date of December 28th, 2025. Mr. Heiner took possession of the property on December 18th, 2025. And then on January 5th, 2026, the Board of Works meeting had a status hearing where we opened demolition proposals for the property. Where the board directed me to seek demolition proposals for the property. The January 20th Board of Works meetings, the proposals were opened and the demolition was awarded to Williams Excavating for $8,500. Would you like me to run through what steps have been taken since the demolition proposal was awarded to Williams Excavating?
Yes, go ahead and fill us in on the steps since the award of the bid.
Okay. On January 21st, 2026, the required 10-day notice of performance of work by contractor, which is the demolition notice, was mailed out, certified in regular mail, and posted on site. January 23rd, Williams Excavating was mailed notice of award, and then all demolition contractors were mailed a notice disclosing what the bids were and to whom the demolition was awarded to. January 26th, the demolition permit was issued and all utilities were contacted about vacating their services. Utilities were the CenterPoint Energy, Duke Energy, Water Department, and the Engineer's Office. February 2nd, the water meter was pulled and the water surface was disconnected. February 4th, I had spoke with Mr. Heiner in detail about the property and about the orders of enforcements and where we were at, and ask him to contact the clerks to appear before you today. On February 5th, the gas service was disconnected at the street and the overhead electrical service was removed from the property. that's it, I'm sorry. Things on here than I thought. So that's where we're at. At this time, the all services and utilities have been vacated. The property is prepped and ready for demolition to occur.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Paul. Any questions for Commissioner Paul? Okay, you'll be able to come back around to those. Mr. Heiner?
Address mix-up.
So your request then is to fix up the property, and then you've not received any of the communications?
No, we had an address mix. Phone number.
And did the previous owners disclose to you that it was under order of enforcement when they sold it to you?
Yeah, I didn't have all the details.
Okay. And when you talk about trying to restore and fix the home, you've got a list of everything that needs done on it now,
Yeah, I
correct?
do have copies of that now, yeah.
And is this work that you're able to complete yourself, or are you?
For the most part, yeah. Probably does have to.
So one of the major concerns we have with allowing that structure to continue is that it's been sitting in uninhabitable condition for over a year now at this point, and you've had 2 structure fires in this space. So we're really concerned about the safety of this building. What's your sense of the safety of this structure?
Gutting and tied together.
Other questions by board members?
So the whole address thing happened, right? And then you had, when did you get all this information about the corrective measures for compliance officially? Okay. So can we see your list, your timeline for completing all these corrective measures in compliance? So what have you been doing in the past 2 weeks? You're new to the home renovation thing?
Ownership, basically.
Yeah. Our biggest concern here is the safety. I could echo what the mayor said. So I don't think we want to, and correct me if I'm wrong here, fellow board members, we don't want to extend this any longer than we have to. But the timeline is critical in the matter. Because our interests are in our neighbors, people that live next to this building. So that's hard to explain to somebody when they come, if they would come to me and say that I've had this building next to me for this long, but the owner of the building has known about the corrective measures compliance for 2 weeks and has a comprehensive list of what needs to be provided, and they haven't found the means to provide that.
Contractors out. Weather's breaking. Property and
Chad, when's the last time you were inside the building?
July 18th. Oh, I'm sorry. That was one of the times I've been to the property. October 28th.
That was the last inspection that's noted here.
But you were inside.
Inside, yes. October 28th of 2025.
I mean, I don't know what the other board members feel, but if this were me and I wanted to save the building and I knew I had to do all this work and I knew 2 weeks ago I would have come here with more information. So I guess, what is our appetite for extending or giving them more time to do this, and what's going to give us enough confidence to know that it's going to happen? I mean, it's got to be immediate. They'd have to report to Shad before the end of the week. Do you have the time and resources to put something together within the next 3 to 5 days for the building commissioner? Of everything that's required in this, in the corrective measures for compliance? Yes. I'm not really convinced you have a full grasp of what needs to happen to the building.
Mr. Heiner, are you aware that there are multiple floor joists that have burnt through and that there's been shifting of the flooring in the house? And
I'm aware of one beam that was I will absolutely.
On January 6th, Commissioner Hall noted that the house is showing that the bricks had shifted and they're separating. The house is shifting, so it doesn't really seem the safest place to be.
Are you aware of? I agree that the bricks along the whole backside.
Do you have financial resources to do all of this work?
Mr. Heiner, is there still a tenant in the building? I do want to note that the tenant's been informed on several occasions under previous owner and current to vacate the space, they're not authorized to be there. Okay, further discussions or questions for board members for either Mr. Heiner or for Commissioner Paul? Okay, Commissioner, or Mr. Heiner, is there any additional information you'd like to provide the board at this time? Okay, so board members then, you do have a request from the property owner to postpone demolition and require him to submit the timeline that's already been previously required. Alternatively, the go-ahead can be given to proceed with demolition for the bid that's already been awarded at this point to the contractor and in alignment with all the disconnection of the utilities involved with this. So I'll entertain a motion from a board member regarding this.
given the lack of plan and financial means, I'd like to make a motion.
I have a motion to proceed with the demolition. Is there a second regarding that motion?
I second that we affirm the order of enforcement as written with the deadline date of December 28th. Proceed with the demolition by Williams Excavating, $500.
So I have a motion and second to proceed with the demolition that's been awarded to Williams Excavating. Further discussion and consideration? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries and the order for demolition is affirmed. Sorry, Mr. Heiner. Yes, yes, sir. Next status hearing we have is regarding, real quick, before I move on, Commissioner Paul, is there anything else you need from the board on that? Are we good at this time with?
Yeah, I think we're good at this time.
Okay, thank you. Next status hearing is regarding 521 William Street. Is there a motion to bring that to the floor for consideration and discussion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Commissioner Paul?
Yes, that property is owned by Horseman Apartment of Huntington LLC, 835 Anchorage Road, Warsaw, Indiana. That order of enforcement was issued on January 14th, 2026. There were 2 orders of enforcement issued, one on extermination. This one's kind of, we're calling it structural, so this is the one we're talking about today specifically. There were 5 unsafe violations, 17 minimum housing violations, along with 16 corrective measures for compliance. During the Board of Works meeting on February 2nd, the board affirmed the order and assessed a $5,000 fine if all the corrective measures for compliance were not completed by February 13th, 2026. And we are here today for a status hearing. And Wendy Smith from the ownership is here to speak to you. Danielle over there.
Thank you.
Thank you. Then if you could please go ahead and state your full name and your relationship to the property for the record, please.
My name is Wendy Smith. I am the district manager for TZLC Property Investment Firm from Warsaw, Indiana.
Thank you for being here. Please go ahead and walk us through the information you just provided the board.
Okay, so the notice that got sent out in the court that we missed, I've already spoke with that I didn't get that communication. Got it this time. I am not from this county. I do deal with 8 other counties that I'm very familiar with. I'm not familiar with this county. I have dealt with this property on and off for a year here and there, but I haven't been indulged in it. I will say that it's a personal issue, and I've spoke with him about it. My daughter was murdered December the 13th, so I have not been on board with this property until probably a couple weeks ago. So
Very sorry for your loss.
Thank you. I honestly just didn't care about any of the properties there for a minute. I'm back on board now. So I have a paper here that is a plan of action. I'm trying to follow through with as much as possible. I need to do a lot of digging myself on some your guys' county's rules and regulations and how things work versus they don't work, because none of the counties are on the same level of how and what and why and when. So we have extermination. this is a huge issue. There is a copy in here of a receipt. I will tell you that the exterminator came. He did the hallways and the lobby. That was it. We did not have any units sprayed. Reason those were not sprayed is because the units are nasty. The guy literally said we were wasting his time and our money until the units were cleared up. I put out a notice to all of the tenants, making them aware. This has been an ongoing battle with cleanliness at the property. I've had workers there for the past week. Every linen closet, every water room, every hallway, all the trash has been removed from the building. I did a walkthrough. There's a sheet in here. I did a walkthrough yesterday. It looks like this is a sheet of cleanliness. I don't know the rules and regulations of what we can and we cannot do to get the tenants there to cooperate on a lot of levels. I know that most of the time we can evict if somebody owes rent, but it's a little harder to evict because somebody's nasty. So I've given the tenants a notice. I have given the tenants notices before when I've came up to the property. We've given them $50 fines to try to promote and push them to clean. I even spoke with Chad about getting the health department, like if they could come out and just condemn the whole unit to force them out to leave, because I'm at odds with your rules and regulations on how far I can go with making someone keep the inside of their unit clean. So we cleaned everything out. We have the exterminator. We have not set a date because I've given everybody notice to clear the trash, the debris. I found out yesterday when I walked the unit that for some reason they think it's okay to not take their pets outside, to just put down, which that's in here, to put down dog pads in their unit and just... So I had confrontation with many tenants yesterday over that that's not okay. I don't even know what would make any normal person think that's okay. So they have a lot of cleaning up to do. The exterminator had said that if he goes in and sprays, there is so much hoarding and nastiness and trash in these people's units that the roaches have plenty of places to hide, and we're going to be fighting a losing battle. I gave them notice. I will be back on Thursday for 2 reasons. One, to walk to see if they've cleaned their units. I don't know what to do if they have not. Like, I did make up an addendum for everybody to sign over the next 2 days so that I can make that a legal binding document to the lease that they signed. So in hopes that if I have to go in front of the judge, I can actually evict over that specific issue of cleanliness. You know, and then you have to go in and take pictures and have proof and, you know, all that stuff. I've got one tenant that absolutely refuses to let anybody in her unit whatsoever, period. She happens to be a little behind on rent, so I'm filing evictions on her this week because we can't even get into her unit at all. She flat won't open the door for nobody. So we did our part with the hallways, with all of the closets, the water room, the meter room, the furnace room. All of that is done. The attic was an issue that is on here. There are pictures. You have pictures. The attic was totally redone. It was all cleaned out. The floors were sanded. It was painted. The openings were covered. This kind of goes along hand in hand with 2 of the things that we had on here, because one of them was the vents. Those have been repaired. There's pictures of that so you could see. Those had steel sleeves put in them. Those were rehung. Those were fixed. The structural engineer, his name is Ken Hess. He's gonna be up here Thursday at 9 a.m. in the morning. So I'm meeting with him. I'm a little worried, to be honest, because we called a couple of them, and he said that he's never had to do this before. So he's not understanding, like I sent him the paperwork you sent me for what you want done, and he seemed confused, so I'm almost concerned about him, but $1,500 later, he's gonna be there at 9 a.m. The attic's been done. Number 4, 12, 13, and 14, all has to do with the tenants. And again, I don't know how far I can push getting people to just be clean. Front doorway. We have had an issue with this door because the tenants there, no matter how many notices or what I have done, in wheelchairs, or for some reason there's a grocery cart there because it's a 3rd floor, there's a lot of disabled people. They use that cart for the groceries. They tend to want to slam into that door with the cart, or if they're in a wheelchair, take their feet and kick it open for the person that's pushing them. I just put a note on the door for that. I just put a notice out to all of them that you must use your hands to get in and out of that door. It's been fixed 4 times over probably the past 3 months. Let's see, the roof, it has been looked at the time when I first got it, we got snow. So it wasn't looked at very well, I can tell you that. They said that once the weather and the water and the snow was all gone, that they would come back and look and see what needs to be done, that they understood what was within the paperwork you sent in getting that repaired. The elevator. So the elevator is a dinosaur, very old, learned a lot of history on that elevator. Jeff Goins of Coon sent a technician out. The parts to those elevators are hard apparently to get, although the part has been ordered and he will be back. And by the way, that elevator has not had an annual on it since '23. Missed that. So he's coming to do an annual inspection on the elevator and to fix that part. The windows. So I'm going to need a little time where the windows are concerned, because we had broken windows before, and we talked to the historical, I did not, but the owner did. And we were told plexiglass was fine. Now we're saying it's not and it needs glass. The problem is a lot of the windows there, the frame, the ledge on the bottom of them, it's wood. It's a historical building. Wood doesn't last forever. Plexiglass is a lot lighter to put in there. But we were told we couldn't change the framing of the windows, so I'm at a loss with what we can and what we cannot do to this building with it being a historical building. But I do have a question that it says the windows are not operable, and I would just like to, what you mean, because those windows were never built, put in, or made to ever open. So when you say that they're not operable, like, what are we supposed to do? It's a historical building. We can't change it. They were never made to open. There's no openings. They're just there. So I don't know.
They're not.
Not all of them. I did a complete walkthrough trying to figure out what windows, like none of them in the lobby. They're just there.
Right.
In some of the hallways, they're just there. They don't even have a means to open them. They're just there.
Those windows, no, but the unit windows would be required to be operable.
Correct. So
For life
we've got to
safety.
figure out, because I'm going to tell you now, you pull that up and look closer, You open one of them windows and they're gonna be on the ground. So we have work, and we know we have work, but it's again like the paint. We have to stick with the same original color of paint, and we're told just to scrape and repaint over that. We're scraping wood away every time that we paint over that. There's not much left on some of those windows. So like I said, I haven't dealt a lot with the historical stuff or with this county in general. So I looked up on the computer, and Brian somebody, I can't remember his last name, for the historical.
Probably Brian Keplinger.
Yes, I looked his name up, I called, but again, I didn't realize yesterday was a holiday and that nobody was open, so I did
Yeah.
not get in contact with
And
him.
if there was a discussion before Historic Review Board regarding the property, which I'm pretty positive there was, there's written records that can be provided to you that provide the guidance and direction on it. It's often a misunderstood.
So just let me clarify that the protections on this building, based on my recollection, are not local ordinances. These are private covenants that are between the owner of the property and Historic Landmarks Foundation of Indiana. The city, no local ordinance is not involved in that. That is between them and landmarks.
So it never came to Historic Review Board at the
There's no
local
jurisdiction
level.
there, nope.
Yeah. So then it would be going back to your property records and the covenants and what it requires, and you'll have to follow those. Who enforces in that case? Would it be landmarks bringing in enforcement through the courts if there's a
Right.
violation of it?
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm not sure what the mechanism for enforcement in that actual historic covenant is. Typically, it's when a project gets, tax credits or some other sort of incentive that is what is, assigned to the property for that. So what the actual mechanism and approval and those sort of things, the devil's gonna be in the details in that particular recorded document.
Yep. So in that case, what you need to do is contact Indiana Landmarks for their guidance on it and what they expect to be done regarding the windows.
Who was that, please?
Indiana Landmarks, I believe that is yep. And then that contact information can be provided to you following the meeting.
Okay, I will look into that. I know we don't get no tax credits or anything on this property whatsoever.
You do not, but the redeveloper who converted it over to apartments did, and that's when the covenants would have been assigned to it. So when the owner purchased this, they inherited those covenants as well with it.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Or this may have been one where landmarks actually owned the real estate and facilitated the redevelopment initially and
That
attached
transitioned it to
themselves
the
to it,
private
yeah.
sector.
And see, I'm not that deep into it because I don't own it, so there's some things that is in corporate office that don't come to me, so then I get thrown out not knowing. So, but I will give them a call and see, what it is we can and we cannot do. Henson Heating and Air, they're out of Richmond, Indiana, where I live. I use them for all of my properties. Bless you. They have came to that property. We've got some furnaces that are having some issues, but it's because, like you said, they're clogged, the lines are. They have went to 3 of them and fixed them. They'll be back this coming week. They as well had some parts that had to be ordered from Southside out of Richmond. I'm still seeking a licensed plumber and electrician. So the little leaks, like the bathroom downstairs here in this building, in the ladies' room, the screen is clogged and the water's spraying all over the place and the handle don't work. It's leaking all over the place. Just letting you know you have a water issue in that sink. They have went through, the general contractors have went through and changed out the screens or pulled the screens out of the faucets and changed the handles. Did that sort of water issue, just because we didn't want those types of to get any worse. But as far as having an electrician or a plumber, I have not made it that far. And then smoke detectors, I know that's not on here, but this is just to give you an idea because I actually put a sheet in here for you. So the fire chief, I had spoke with him. for some reason, the tenants will not leave the smoke alarms on the walls. They're pulling them down. I even have started putting the 10-year sealed battery smoke alarms in so that they at least can't take the battery out. So on 11/3/25, a little bit before that, the fire department and I went through, checked. There was a lot of missing smoke detectors. So we went through and put smoke detectors in. And not long after that, there was somebody cooking, caused a fire on their stove. Fire department came in. There were no smoke detectors. So I was able to get this from the fire chief. We did a walkthrough. We put smoke detectors back up again. He gave us this sheet to sign so that the tenants are stating that they had working smoke detectors. If you look at the sheet that I gave you from my walkthrough, and I mean, this is all within 3 months. I did a walkthrough of the units yesterday on this sheet. I have over 10 apartments with missing smoke detectors again. I don't know what to do with this property or with the people, or I don't know if I need to call the fire chief back and give him this sheet with the sheet. He already has a copy of this, so he can find these people. I mean, I just don't know what to do or what my rules and regulations are to make the people in this building cooperate or clean or leave the smoke alarms alone, or... So I'm up for any suggestions or help or any guidance or leeway of anybody I can call or anything I can do.
Attorneys are usually helpful with regard to landlord-tenant issues. Indiana is, in my mind, a fairly landlord-friendly state. I'm sure there's options for you, but you would have to get an attorney that's on your side.
We have an attorney.
Then they should be able to help.
Okay.
Usually when these phone calls come in to like the health department, it's because we've put an eviction notice on the door. You know, they live there just perfectly fine until you put that notice because they didn't pay their rent, and all of a sudden we're in a mess. But I know that I need to go down and also speak with magistrate because we're having a horrible, horrible issue getting people not only out of that property, but we have Heritage and Hotel Z that we now have to evict people from, the commercial hotel.
Sorry, what hotel was that?
The Heritage and
Oh,
Hotel Z
in
at Markle.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so I know I need to figure out the rules and regulations because we're having a horrible time. Our cases are getting thrown out left and right to me over minute things, but
Well, Ms. Smith, thank you for the thorough documentation of the steps you've taken since you've gotten back onto the job and in your normal routine. Your boss has not put you in a good situation here because these notices have been provided to corporate, and if they're not getting to you, that is an issue you need to take up with corporate to make sure that you're properly notified so you can do your job. And
correct. This time, sir, and it's by all means not an excuse, I've not been to work to receive any of them because my daughter was murdered on December the 13th. We buried her on the Monday before Christmas. So I literally shut all of that down. I had not seen him, so I will take my ownership on this part of it
Well,
because I wasn't there.
that's entirely your choice. I wouldn't even
Right.
put that ownership on you. I would put that ownership on the owner as the
Right.
ultimate responsible party, especially given what you've been going through in your personal life.
All right.
Okay, Okay, Commissioner Paul, any additional information for the board to give consideration to, or further questions or discussion that board members have for Commissioner Paul or for Ms. Smith?
The one thing I would say is I know you'd hired the extermination company. If you have copies of like what they were supposed to do, or they just did the initial
They just-
hallways and common areas right
They-
now?
That's all they did. They came in, we did a walkthrough of all the units. And when he came in, I had explained that our storages, you know, like the water room, why it had, you've been in there, it had 5,000 things crammed in there. We've literally, the city has been by to, we had to red sticker tag, whatever. This is the only county we have to do that in, so I don't know what it's called, or that I have to deal with. But they've been there 4 times. That's how much we've taken out of that building to pick up over the past week. So no, he came in, I informed him of the nightmare we had going on, and he said that because we were moving a lot of things around in the lobby and the hallway, like, you know, carrying it out, that he would treat those areas, and that once we got units cleaned, that then we would reschedule and he would come back, but he would wait 2 weeks for us to give us time to get it all cleared and cleaned out, and then he'd come back and we'd put out a notice and do it by unit. Because he's been there before. He has sprayed units. Just not long ago, he did the whole 3rd floor. But, I mean, if they don't clean, it's going to be a losing battle and a whole lot of money for no reason, because it's going to get nowhere. I mean, it might lighten them up, but they're not ever going to go.
Were the tenants given clear instructions on how to prepare?
Absolutely. And I put out that notice. I give them, I usually, if the spray's going to be on a Monday or Tuesday, they at least get 4 days ahead of time to know that there cannot be piles of dirty laundry, there cannot be dirty dishes, there cannot be piled up debris where they're, you know, hoarding things. Trash all needs to be out, that, you know, the spaces need to be open so that they can get inside the camp. They know.
Soft items, are they supposed to bag them up and seal them?
There's any kind of food that is out, plants can be covered, and their pets have to be removed along with them for at least 2 hours. I let them know that the exterminator will be there at whatever time, say 9 a.m., and that they need to be patient. A lot of them are elderly, a lot of them have disabilities, so I always let them know that when I say extermination starts at 9, it doesn't mean everybody leave the building at 9 o'clock. It means wait till he comes to your door, because you have to be out for 2 hours. So once he gets there, you have 2 hours from the point of him getting there. So we've had to reword and put that multiple times, because they all want to call or leave at 9 and then be mad that their unit hasn't been reached. So, yeah, we put out a notice every time the exterminator's there.
He can determine whether that unit is able to be treated, and he can deny it if it's not.
Yeah, and that's the point I'm at, that I don't know what to do, because he went into 2 units. These are 2 units people had transferred from one unit to another unit, which they're not allowed to do that no more. And he walked in and was like, he said, "You're wasting my time and your money." He said, "This has all got to come out. You have too many places for the bugs to hide to get rid of them." He said, "You're masking it." So we did put diatomaceous earth in the attic, though. That was on us. Just because it does work and it helps. So we did put that in the attic, because we did the whole attic.
Ms. Smith, I'm sorry to hear about your daughter. Thank you for this update. I think it only scratches the surface on what we really need to see from you. You have a copy of this, right? Got a copy of the order of enforcement?
Yes.
All that stuff, something similar to it? I think as we move forward here, you're going to be best served by communicating to this board a little bit better. And I think a good start would be to provide under the corrective measures for compliance, a reference for every corrective measure for compliance that establishes a date when every corrective measure of compliance will be completed. She has this list, right?
Yes, that's the first
This
page.
is on your paperwork. The dates established by when you will serve the guideline for the Board of Works, the dates, timeframes, provide detailed information as how you plan to complete each and every required corrective measure for compliance. Should include all the details, all the stuff that these contractors are coming in and already doing. They need to be documenting all of that, because those individuals need to provide a letter. In addition to the structural engineer, the electrical system needs to have a written report listing any of the deficiencies, the plumbing system, HVAC system, and all of that's listed here. So as we move forward, I would recommend, because I'm considering giving you an extension based on your actions up to this date. However, if by the next time we meet, it's not more organized, I might have a second thought on how we proceed. But this is going to be very important because there's a lot going on. And I think we owe it to the citizens that are living in that building.
So I was told, I thought when we spoke, that once all of this, that once they came, they could do a detailed letter. Like the structural, I can't give you any of that because none of them's been there. They're all coming in, like, I couldn't get them there quick enough. Like the elevator guy came, but he's not gonna give a detailed report until he gets the part. And then
Right.
he actually does the inspection. Then he said he would send a detailed
So
email.
Ms. Smith, that's actually what we're talking about. So when you provide a detailed timeline, you set the target dates of when you intend to get them taken care of based on your communication with the contractors, you update us
Yes.
through Commissioner Paul. As Anthony said, the steps you've taken today are a good step in the right direction. We understand it's gonna take time to get this thing turned around, and we're inclined to work with you on that as long as we continue to see you and the owner putting the effort into improving the situation there.
Correct.
And so as you're working with it, we're gonna work with you on that.
Some of these do have. Some of them, for who I have contacted, on the backside, they
Correct.
have.
Yes.
You
They
have.
And that's
Yeah.
where we see well-intentioned effort by you, and we understand you have to work within their schedules too. This is exactly the sort of documentation we're looking for from you in the updates. And then as they come through and do that, any of the written reports they're providing you, provide copies to Commissioner Paul as well, so he can be privy to what they're saying the work is that needs done, so we have a good sense of the full picture of it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I would say, I mean, pending another inspection, I went through the list that you provided with everything. That was per the timeline. It looks like
Did I
most
misunderstand what you
most of
told me
these
to do?
you are in process of either doing or have done. I mean, they've all been addressed and in process. So that's a good thing.
I was just hoping I didn't misunderstand our phone
No, yeah.
conversation with me
You got it,
having
yeah.
me do this,
Yeah, so
to the best of what I did have.
Yes.
So given that, and given the status update, are there other questions for the board members regarding the work and the timeline, the process at this point? If not, I would entertain a motion to modify the order to extend an additional 30 days for an update at the March 16th meeting.
Second.
I'm
Sorry.
requesting a
Oh,
motion
sorry.
if that's the case. So is that a motion you would
Yes.
like to make?
Yes, so moved.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry.
Is there a second regarding a motion to modify the order of enforcement, allowing an additional 30 days, and then getting another status update and progress report on work that's been done and completed since then? Second. Further discussion and consideration of the motion on the table? Okay, we'll call the question in favor of the motion to modify the order of enforcement to allow an additional 30 days, in which case we'll have further updates at the March 16th board meeting, and of course, communication in the meantime with Commissioner Paul. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. 30-day extension has been granted. So please continue to put in the effort and work with the owner. We, like I said, we know it's going to take time to get this turned around. We appreciate the steps you've been taking since you were notified.
Trying to get it done.
It's a big ship to turn around. We understand. So,
I walked into a nightmare.
yep. And as was noted by Mr. Harper, your owner's legal counsel can answer a number of the questions regarding the eviction process or how enforceable your tenant contract is. And then, of course, the covenants as it relates to Indiana Landmarks and their expectations around the windows or other items on the structure. So,
That's March 16th.
It's 3:30. Now,
yep.
after this, tomorrow, I will prepare another record of hearing, which will note everything, the date, the time. Yes, it'll get mailed, regular and certified mail, and I'll email it to you.
So a lot of times corporate office, and you already know the owner is out of the country majority of the time. So
Yeah.
anything certified or goes to corporate, then that's
Stays.
Yeah, and that's actually a statutory requirement we have to follow, is we have to send it to the address of record. So when we have your contact information, we're glad to provide a duplicate, but we do have to provide it to the address of record.
Yeah, because I don't know why the property manager that I have there did, but she, for some reason, we have a Horseman email address, and for some reason, out of nowhere, she had it sent to her personal email, which I discussed with him. So even though even though I'm at home dealing with the tragedy that we got stuck with to deal with, I could have still been on my emails on my computer when I was able to wrap my head around
Yep.
some things. But it went to hers. So I mean, no excuse, but I don't know why she had to send it to her personal email and then nobody got it, so.
Well, I'm glad that we've gotten that straightened out, and again, we express our sympathies and condolences to you and
Thank you so much.
tragedy you're dealing with.
I'll email you. I'll email you tomorrow. Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you. Any miscellaneous items for the good of the order? Not seeing or hearing any at this time. We'll call for a motion to authorize payment of the bills incurred by the city of Huntington.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second regarding the bills incurred by the city of Huntington. Further discussion and consideration. Not hearing any at this time, we'll call the question in favor of authorization to pay the bills incurred by the city of Huntington. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great week.